Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Gladius, and we will get started on a new campaign here on the Impossible difficulty. I'm going to be playing as the Space Marines. I did get the Ultima Founding DLC. Now, just so you don't make the same mistake that I did, is I actually thought the Primaris were going to be their own faction. All it does is add additional units to the Space Marine campaign. So instead of having two playthroughs here, one to do a quest victory and one to do just a free-for-all victory, as the campaign is going to be the exact same as it would be for a Space Marine, I'm just going to do a free-for-all campaign here. We have it set to the Impossible difficulty, world side set to huge, very large landmass. We don't have to worry so much about water. And I'm going to put the game pace on to very fast, just because it can take quite some time when you're having a faction, every faction on here to get that going, because by the end of the game there's going to be hundreds of units that we're going to have to kill. So as you can see, everything is set to the Impossible difficulty, and I'm set to neutral. All DLC have been activated. Quests have been disabled. That way we don't have to worry about accidentally doing quests while we're running around here. Everything is set to medium except for the wireweed and the ruins, because that will just slow movement down so much, and the same with the forest, because we want to just keep moving across the screen and get that going quite a bit faster, because the movement penalties in this game are pretty hard, or pretty high. We have a fortress city, so you only have a single city. Our requisitions, we have food and ore replaced with a single thing. Fortress of Redemption, our unique tech, I guess I would say, for lack of a better term, skill, and what that does is by deploying those fortresses we can capture points, and we have pretty durable forces.
Gladius Prime was a bastion of humanity, newly colonized. A suitable base for our chapter to rebuild and recruit. We Space Marines raised our fortress here, grew strong again. But the Orc invasion brought a warp storm that cut off our Emperor's light. And the dread Necrons crawled from the earth beneath our feet. War was on all sides, yet we are the Emperor's chosen. We do not dread the dark, or quail at the relics of old. Terror is for those who oppose us. We know no fear.
Alright, so we're just moving around here, kind of scouting to see what I can find. I see that we got some ruins here, so I'm going to try to capture that. That'll allow us to hide in the corner of the map, which tends to be the best. Now, unfortunately, I seem to be a little out of sync here with the video and audio, so hopefully this is coming through better on the recording. But the big thing is, you want to, when you're playing on the Impossible difficulty, the big thing is you just want to make sure you're not getting yourself in a situation where two different factions are going to be attacking you. I like to rush the Reclusium, because then I can get my heroes going, and then for the Space Marines, getting the commander, or captain out, I think is what they're called, is important, because he's got a passive ability that you can get going right away that will allow you to start getting influence with every kill that you're getting, and that can be massive for you, because you really need to get a lot of influence with this faction here to get a lot of your further heroes out, because the chaplain will allow you to get significant loyalty buffs, and you're going to need to get all that influence to be able to summon these fortresses of redemption out, because what they allow you to do is take control of these resource nodes, because normally you can only get the bonuses that they give you when you build a city around them, but because we can only get a single city with our Space Marines, by using that Fortress Redemption and putting it next to it, you can select which areas you want to take. Now, I wanted to take over these ruins here, but you still need to move somebody on top of them, because they'll either be experience or unique items, like what I have on the top of the screen there. That's an item that it gave me. So we're going to get this building going here. And I like when I take over these ruins, because they give you plus 20% research, because I like to try to rush the research as fast as possible. That way we can start getting tech that allow us to build up our city faster, because right now it's taking, you know, 3 turns to build things up, which is taking just a ton of time. Now the big thing with our tactical marines here is they are quite powerful, as you can tell, and they can tank some hits. But you need to be right one like square away from your opponent, because they, with their bolters, if you get within 1 square, they'll get double the attacks. So that significantly increases their damage. Unfortunately, these not gene stealers, I forget what they're called. These neutrals here, they have an ability called Shroud, which reduces the amount of damage that they take. So it significantly lowers my ability to do things. To kill them with range, I should say, to be able to expand. Unfortunately, our expansion right now has been pretty terrible, because I'm not really finding much for research nodes, or resource nodes, I should say. I mean, research would be nice too, but everything has been influence here, and while that's can be good, it also is bad for me right now, because I need to get, you know, ore and things like that, which is what the blue resource on the top of the screen is there. If you bring your guys to the city here, they'll heal up much, much faster. And this game's at least nice that it has things like hold ground or stay in this position until you fully healed up, so then you don't have to keep doing selecting them every turn. Now, unfortunately, the item I got here for that Witchfire, I mean, most units or most factions don't use Witchfire, so I tend to just sell it for the influence, and then to also allow me to either use that influence to buy better items or to just get the influence to keep expanding, because every node that you capture around your city here takes away 1 influence that you'd be generating per turn. So you need to do this balancing act where you don't expand too far and just willy-nilly take over too many squares without having big boons, or else it's not going to do anything for you other than slow down your expansion. And now your units do gain levels with kills, and they need to be within 3 tiles of where the unit is dying. So I'm going to build up some ore here, because you can see I'm only getting +3 right now. And each tactical marine takes 2 requisition to keep alive, and then certain buildings can also take requisition and things too. So I'm definitely lagging behind here with not having better resource nodes. And so there we go, I got the glorious deeds, which will increase the amount of influence that I'll gain while I'm killing units. And then if you're wondering how I'm speeding up the game, I'm using a program called Cheat Engine. I think it's kind of interfering with the game a little bit right now. Usually it's not an issue with causing syncing. Like if you look at several of my other impossible playthroughs, there's not really an issue, but for whatever reason it just seems like right now there does seem to be an issue with it matching up okay, which is actually kind of annoying. And then by putting those guys onto the Cornate Altar, it actually increases their damage with the Blessing of Corn. Now finally I have one that'll give me plus 20% population growth, and that can be quite helpful for me, especially early on when I'm not building a bunch of dormitories, because what happens with your population growth is the more population capacity your cities have, the faster their growth rate will be. And so by going up by 20%, that'll help me, because early on, as you can see, I'm really having some resource issues here. I'm up to 8. I can see somebody over here. I think that was the Tech Marine. Sorry for the cut there. I had to answer a phone call. Now I'm out of resources, so I can't even build anything right now. So we'll just skip our city. We did capture a relic up top here, and so what that does is it'll give you some sort of bonus to your faction. It can be loyalty, and what is what that's the one is. It can be increased damage, it can be increased HP. I think those are the 3 variants. So now I'm not reading the text for the research that I'm unlocking here. If you want to see all that, then you can see my other quest playthroughs, because I tend to read everything out there. But You know, I tend to have this balancing act where early on it's like, well, we got to get our resources stable. But unfortunately, because we've had such bad resource nodes here with everything being just influence, it's really kneecapping my economy here. And this could be a major problem, especially if we get into a war. I mean, effectively, I can't go to war with anybody because I don't have the resources to even support my 3 units here, let alone a whole army, which is what I would need to go to combat against another faction. So yeah, we can see that there's the AdMech is to the right of us here, so we don't want to try to trigger them because that'll aggro them onto us right now. And that would be a complete disaster with us not having any sort of army. And we've already cleared out the neutrals, and we didn't really level up enough because on the impossible difficulty, every AI unit that they create will start out at level 5. And as you can see, my hero is currently still the first level. And my 2 Space Marines are the second level right now. So as you can see at the top, it says population 6 out of 6, so it's not growing anymore. So I have to get a dormitory going because every building that you create will take up 1 population space, and once you start building more buildings than you have populations for, then it'll start causing you to suffer output issues. So you have to do, for the Space Marines, it's a little bit easier because you only have to balance requisition, energy, research, and then influence, whereas most other factions, you'll have food as well, but that's not an issue. Now, I did accidentally trigger the sisters here, but again, I'd really like to try to get this research going because I need to get that up. Now, I got forbidden knowledge. I don't know if I can use that just to level immediately, or if that costs resources. And quite frankly, I'm such a low level, it shouldn't be too hard for me to level. So as you can see, the sisters have found me, so now they're going to be attacking me. And they have way more units than I do, and they're, you know, level 6, level 5. So what I think I'm going to do is just keep him up top here and try to just move him around to explore. And maybe what I can do is actually drag the sisters towards the AdMech base, and then if they can start fighting each other up here, then that will aggro a lot of their units to start fighting, and then I can maybe try to come around the bottom here and capture points out from underneath them. So the loyalty is still +4. As your population expands, the loyalty will start to decrease, or with every city that you create, you'll have additional loyalty penalties. But as I only get the 1 base, it's a moot point for the Space Marines in terms of the expansion. It's mostly the population size that's your main issue. But yeah, I definitely need better resources here. And ideally, I'd like to use the Fortresses of Redemption, which are on cooldown right now, to take that place up here, because then I get, you know, more resources globally. But I think that's going to be too close to the AdMech base, and if he starts getting flyers, it's going to aggro him onto me. So I think what I'll do is get a chaplain going, because he has an ability that'll increase the loyalty, and then then I won't have to build as many buildings. Yeah, see, now we've discovered the AdMech have discovered us, and they're shooting us. I don't know if the sisters are getting attacked, that's why they pulled back, or whether they already knew that the AdMech were over here and then they ran away. So if I couldn't pull the sisters onto the AdMech, maybe what I can do is pull the AdMech onto the sisters. And that might actually be better, especially because it looks like there's a city to the north of me. And if I can get them to run soldiers back and forth to attack, then that'll keep them north, and then I can take these things to the south. Yeah, see, he's already expanding his cities up to the north. And the thing that's a little frustrating is with their cities, they start out at level 5 too, so they have a bunch of health. Yeah, so here are the sisters here. My tactical marines are going to be killed. which isn't the end of the world because that'll get me a couple of requisition every turn that I don't have to pay for upkeep. But hopefully by me being so close to death there, like I said, I can trigger them to go to battle with each other, allowing me to just keep getting my tech up. Oh, actually, the neutrals are the ones that got the kill there. So maybe what I'll do is I'll actually sell these for 60 influence. I think that's probably what makes the most sense, so I can keep expanding here. And maybe even get another hero. You're back up to full health. I'm just not even sure what I want to be doing right now. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to capture another point here. The orbital relay is definitely something I'm going to want. Because the big thing about that is for every orbital relay you build, it reduces the production time by 50%. So if you build 2 of them, you can effectively build almost any... I think you can actually build any building in one turn instead of 3. So that'll really allow us to expand our city, because we're going to need to get the city expanded. That's going to, I guess, be our priority right now, as we just don't have the funds to be able to build a army. And because I can't build an army, I'm just focusing on skipping unlocking significant tech to get better units. And instead I'll just try to focus on getting units that I'll use towards the end game, which will be apothecaries, terminators with variants, and then land raiders. If I start to get into battle, I guess I can summon... If I had a high resource area, then what I'd do is I'd build 3 or 4 land speeders, because then you can clear out any neutrals that are in your way, because they're actually pretty good, and you can rapidly take over massive parts of the map. And then later game they get access to multi-melta, so they can actually do some pretty decent damage. But and then you can send them back for repairing, and they have all that movement because they're hover units, and they can actually capture strategic points that have the resources as well, even though they're hover units. Flyers cannot, but hover units can. Sometimes that confuses newer players. So we've got our chaplain now, so I want him to have that, so that's plus 8 loyalty. And then the thing that is a little bit different in this game, and I don't know if it's something that happens on these 4X games, because these are not games I typically play very much, but once you get somebody to like a level 2, then it seems like your other heroes will start out at level 2 too, so you don't have to necessarily start them at lower levels. And then as the game progresses, I think that also gets the starting levels to be a little bit higher as well. So that definitely works out to your favor, so you don't always have to level up from the lowest level. So what I'm going to try to do here is skirt around the southern part of the map, because I assume the Adeptus Sororitas and the AdMech should be fighting by now, because I've thrown their armies close to each other 2 different times. But I need to make sure I stay far enough away from the AdMech that I don't aggro their forces. So we can see he's got his little tech priest there, and he can heal mechanical units and found additional cities, so hopefully he's going to keep going north with the cities and not south, and then I can just hide. Now we'll get the Kraken bolts, because there will be guys that have bolter weapons that I'm going to want to use near the end of the game, and that increases the amount of damage they do. Alright, good. So it looks like he's got guys going towards the north. So maybe, because the AI is not great at wanting to prioritize taking over these strategy points once they've captured it. When they're neutral, they'll actually try to focus on them. But once they captured them, you can usually capture them back, and unless they start pushing armies this way, they should not focus on capturing them again, unless I, again, aggro them onto me here, which is why it's important that I don't do that. So we'll just keep exploring and trying to capture points here to boost our resource generation here. And we'll start building those orbital relays so we can hopefully get more production going. Alright, good. It looks like the tech priest is going north. So hopefully we can keep pushing the south and taking these points from him. And then again, the ruins, if it's neutral, then there'll be some sort of item or research or other resource bonus there if you capture it. So you'll always want to have a unit go there. And just having a city next to it and then taking control of the square does not give you the item. Somebody manually has to be moved on top of it for them to explore the ruins. Shit. Alright, so we found another faction. I think that's the Drukhari. So I guess that means I can't go along the south anymore. And I assume that means, unless the Drukhari are pushing to the east, what might end up happening is the tech priests will now get put into a 2 versus 1 battle, being sandwiched between the Adeptus Sororitas and the Drukhari. Now with the Eldar, they have to use webway gates to expand. I can't remember if the Drukhari have to use that webway gate mechanic as well. But if you are playing against for sure playing against the Eldar, you always want to prioritize killing those gates, because the Eldar can activate the gates, and then once they activate the gates, they can actually start forming cities around there, or they can just use it to teleport their units across the screen. So that can be a real pain in the ass for you. And I'm having to keep putting these fortresses of redemption down on these frickin' influences. Which I guess isn't the end of the world if I have to focus on building a city out. Because I'm definitely not getting a lot of influence using my captain right now, because I can't fight anybody. Alright, so I guess what I'll try to do is just kind of move up in between these two cities. And if nothing else, if I aggro somebody, maybe I can cause them to get into fights with each other. I don't know. I just think I'm going to end up getting these guys aggroed onto me. So I think we'll just keep focusing on the... Well, maybe the infantry armor. No, let's get the city expansion since we're focusing on the cities right now. I just think I'm playing with fire by trying to go up farther north there with the Drukhari and the Admech. I just don't want to be stuck in the middle there and get sandwiched. And then all of a sudden they turn on me. So let's just focus on our city building right now. Alright, so as you can see, the build time is now reduced by 50% because of that orbital relay. So this time it only costs 2 turns for us to get there. And in the meantime, that'll allow our population to get a little bit bigger. So I guess I can try to go north now. And see if I can push closer to the sisters. I don't know if that's going to be viable though, because we know they have a city to the northeast. I just don't know if they have one directly north of me too. Turns are getting progressively longer for the AI, so they're definitely getting big armies going. And no faction's been killed yet, obviously. It's only turn 29. Oh, so the Space Marine player just scouted me with his orbital scan. Now, the AI has huge buffs to us, because with the increased loyalty that they get, that means they can expand these cities without having to worry about the loyalty, and the more loyalty you have, the more productive your cities are, so they're getting major resource buffs as well. So as you can tell, these impossible difficulty can make the AI get crazy. So if you are in one area where there's like you're landlocked, you can potentially do a one-on-one battle if you have good resources against an impossible difficulty. But AI, because they'll tend to just spam out units of every type, and once you start to get a little bit better units, say like the land speeders, then you can fight them, but you'll then need to take down the cities, which can be difficult since, again, they start out at level 5, and I always thought that was kind of stupid. I don't think the cities should start out at level 5. I always thought that should be nerfed, because it just gets to be so difficult to kill their cities, and with all their other buffs, it just is a little bit ridiculous. But as you can see, I have a population of 11 out of 12, so that means my population's going to start slowing, so I'm building more dormitories there so I can keep that population going, because eventually I'm going to want to get better units here. Now, he's already got the Cataphracts destroyers. These are like the backbone of my Tech Marine infantry armies when I'm playing as them, so that's a bad sign because those guys are really good. Alright, so the Drukhari are fighting the Admech. From nowhere, reports have begun arriving with his survivor settlements burned and deserted. Yeah. And he's got his Archon, and he's a level 7 already, compared to my level 1 and level 2. Alright, so I can get a Fortress of Redemption. I'll try to put one down here, because I need the resources, but I'm hoping that's not going to get aggroed and destroyed. Let's put you here. Start bringing you to the north. And I guess we're just going to have to see if we can try to ninja some of those strategy points here. Okay, so the Adeptus Sororitas are attacking the Admech, and if the Drukhari start attacking them too, then the Admech should pretty much be destroyed, and then that might actually give me an opportunity to push forward and capture more resource points, which would be huge. I do like the Thunder Fire cannons, because they would allow me to clear out wireweed and also repair vehicles. I'll have access to apothecaries, which will allow us to start healing our infantry units and heroes, so that's huge if I start building them. I guess let's just keep pushing up here. So let's get that going, because then I can start trying to buff up our heroes and then use them as healers to really push. Because the heroes, once you get them really good items, they can become incredibly powerful for the Space Marines, and then the damage they take, you can just pull them back and use your apothecaries to heal them. And you can just keep throwing them into combat, and then having the captain over there will start getting tons of influence. But the fact that I'm not fighting is, again, kneecapping me pretty heavily here. Because that's how you're supposed to really blow up your economy, is by having them get into combat. Alright, looks like maybe I can try to capture some points around the back here. And now I should finally be in a situation where I can start building buildings every turn. So let's get a generator going. And then we're going to need some more loyalty. Well, maybe not. Let's get another dormitory. And then we'll do a loyalty. And then we'll put down some other buildings, probably here, because that gives you research and population when I'm doing the apothecarium. So maybe I actually do just a research node to build that up. I'll take over the Altar Arcane as well. I don't think you get double stacked bonuses, but if nothing else, then I can have somebody stay on the altar if I get attacked, and that'll give damage output increases with the blessing to whatever unit's on the altar. So yeah, clearly the Admech is getting attacked by the Adeptus Sororitas and the Drukhari there, so they should not have long left in this world. should be good for us. Alright, we've got some more research here. Shit, his city is pretty much extending the whole way there. So I don't think that means I'm going to be able to take very much here. Yeah, see, this looks like a city the whole way across. That's unfortunate. Yeah, here's another city. So I think the AdMech have their one city left. And then I think they're dead. Ironically, it looks like they've got influence stuff here. So yeah, hopefully once the Drukhari come over here and kill the AdMech, or the Adeptus Sororitas kill them, hopefully they'll start going a different direction. Maybe I can run past. Try to capture some stuff over here. Yeah, the issue I have, though, is I'd like to put down some more Fortresses of Redemption. I guess maybe I could try to do one by the ruins here to try to get my research faster. But again, if he starts summoning an aircraft, they're going to see it, and I'm going to be in trouble. So maybe, if I'm going to try that, I just pull you guys back. I can buy these items here, which will increase my resource generation. So I got one for influence and research. So if I'm going to have to do the building because I'm not fighting, then maybe that's the way to go. I'm going to get extra infantry armor because that will give more armor to my heroes. Ah, damn it, the sisters are pushing to the southeast here. That's going to really stop me because I was hoping that once the AdMech were destroyed, I'd be able to just push to this area here to the northeast and start taking those points. But that's unlikely to happen if they're starting to put cities down here to take it themselves. Shit. That's a big problem for me. Since I'm sitting here trying to be a rat and just pick up whatever I can. I think I have to try. Let's put it to the southwest there. And hopefully that'll be far enough away from the base that I should be able to attack, or not get attacked, and still hold that. Because between that plus 20% research bonus that I got going for my buildings, I think what I'll start doing is throwing down the armories and the apothecariums, and that'll get me more research. Typically I would have built these much sooner, so I would have faster research, which would be huge by now. But because I have no resources, I can't even afford these things for a long period of time, so it's a very slow start for me. Because what I like to do is, if I have a lot of food, then I actually go Scout Army, because they can not aggro overwatches, and then they can actually do bonus damage to infantry units, which are most neutrals, and so it allows me to really get around and capture things. If I have an ore-based location, then I go with the land speeders. Again, I really prefer the land speeders, but if I have a food... Oh wait, no, I do the food area if I have the Astra Militarum, because then I do Ratlings, and then what the scouts are effectively Ratlings for the Space Marines, but because the Space Marines don't have food, I'll always have ore, and therefore I like to do the land speeders. That's how I usually do it. I had to think about that. It's been a long time since I played this game, but that's how my usual build out is, because the land speeders are just so damn good. And then, like I said, later into the game, once you start unlocking multi-meltas, which you'll generally want to do because it'll give additional attacks to your land raiders, if I remember correctly. That can be quite powerful. Now I'm just going to silence the Apothecarian because there's no reason for me to start paying requisition costs. I guess let's get that. And we'll get a Magnus Scroll for you too, so that'll be increased influence and tech here as well. And we'll just pull you guys down. Okay, so the Admech are now dead. Why these tech priests rebelled, I do not know. Mars is 1,000 schisms and loyalties, and even the truest Magos knows the mind-scouring secrets they would die for. Here all their wisdom and all their learning, all their faith served to nothing. So they are dead. We know the Adeptus Sororitas army must be there. So the question is the Adeptus Sororitas going to start fighting the Drukhari, or are they going to start pushing a different direction? Hopefully they go a different direction, because then I can start capturing these points out from underneath them here. Our research is going up pretty significantly. Let's get close combat mastery, because that'll increase the melee damage of our heroes, and then we should hopefully start pushing out. So I'm going to call quits here for the day. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe to encourage me to post more content for you. And we should have a more action-packed videos going forward here as we're starting to get our city built up, so we should start getting some resources to allow us to start expanding, because it's definitely been a atypical, very slow start to this campaign, which has been kind of boring, I will say, but I think it should really start to ramp up now that we're going to start getting some resources and hopefully be able to expand, assuming they don't come after us. So take it easy, guys.